Hi there, it's Wendy Smith here, life coach, working with the helping people to recognize any of the red flags that could come up in relationships or dating or maybe even friendships. What I'm going to talk about today is somebody being too full on. We call it love bombing, and it's somebody who's sort of all over you, expecting all of your attention, trying to be too pushy, overbearing, move a friendship or relationship into something that is far more advanced for the timing that's coming up. And, we're going to focus mainly on the fact that, this happens a lot when you're on the dating scene, when you're looking for that new partner. It could be online dating, it could be that you've met them in person, it could be a colleague that's taken a shine to you at work, it could just be somebody, when you're out socializing, just that little bit too forward, too pushy, and I'll cover what we can do when we recognize these things and we want to put an end to things before maybe even you've taken the first step of going on a date or anything. Or so ultimately, red flags can prevent us from getting into something that could end up being extremely unhealthy, damaging, potentially controlling and manipulative, abusive even, later on further down the line. So being aware of these at the earliest stages and doing something to extricate yourself is the best way of protecting yourself against being involved in something that is extremely damaging. So it could be that you're chatting to them on the phone or you're sending messages to each other, and in the early stages you've maybe arranged that first date or it's moving in that direction, and all of a sudden they start coming out with the words that relate to it being a relationship already, trying to bring an arranged meeting forward and trying to sort of impose on you earlier than you'd agreed to. So that's, too pushy. That's something to be concerned about. Even if they accept that you're not ready for that step, there will be other ways that they try to do these things. It could be that they're bombarding you with messages that include emojis such as, roses, flowers, gift emojis, kiss emojis, the emoji with a face with the hearts, so sort of suggesting love too quickly, using the word love, using words like darling, babe, any of that too quickly, too early is a good cause for you to think very, very carefully about how far you're willing to go with this person. But actually, it's wise to start thinking about, ending any arrangement that may have already been set in place. So they could even be sort of, letting you know that, they think it's okay to let you know that they're checking out maybe a house. Somebody that, I was aware of was already checking out hotels, booking weekends away. And, a date hadn't even been set at that time, but they were already sort of so involved and obsessed that they weren't sleeping at night. They were, continually trying to put arrangements in place that would suggest something long term before, before it was time. So, they could be sort of too in your face, wanting your time. Just simply putting pressure on you to give you an impression that actually they're more invested than is appropriate for the stage of the relationship or friendship, than is normal and healthy with other people that you've been associated with in the past. So it could be that they've changed plans, they've made that decision themselves, they are fitting around you, they're trying to expect you to drop everything for them. They might text 2 or 3 times before they get a response from you, trying to push you to respond to them. All attention-seeking behaviours. And you've asked them to slow down, but you then become aware that they're still moving too far ahead in their own vision or perception in their own minds of where they are at the stage that things currently are. So then you decide to end the connection, and you will actually start to see the person for who they are. And more often than not, it turns out that your misgivings were correct, depending on how they respond when you decide to break off an arrangement or cancel or pull out of something, or maybe not even go ahead with making an arrangement if you haven't even got that far. So they then get sort of quite nasty in their messages. They'll try and put emotional blackmail in there. They'll say that they dropped everything for you. They'll say that they've made all these plans and now you've been really horrible to them by cancelling those plans or changing them. They just don't seem to take it very well when you say that actually it's not for you, and you will have based that on how things have gone up to that stage. But actually these things are designed to sort of hit out at you because you've rejected them, and more often than not they wouldn't look at themselves for why that's happened. They may actually put something out there that is completely unrelated or only a small part of the picture. So if they're not willing to look at themselves, self-reflect, see what really might have been happening, look at their own behaviour, how full on they were, how pushy they were, I mean, that would really be very off-putting to somebody who is looking for something healthy anyway. So it could, you might end up with a barrage of messages, and if you block them in one format, they may try to find another way to get hold of you to continue, letting you know that they're extremely disappointed and all that stuff. And then depending on how you feel about it, do you feel confident enough to be able to be quite assertive and say that actually, stop this, otherwise I'm going to, block you, take further action, whatever you decide is the right course of action if this person doesn't leave you alone and accept that you're saying no, which we know is a very obvious sign of somebody that would end up being controlling and manipulative in the end. So actually they're giving you a lot of signs that show you that they would have been somebody that would have been extremely unhealthy for you anyway. Excuse me. So you could actually let them know that if they continue, you may take that action, and that's a pretty strong warning. And once you've said that, if they then continue, then it's wise to continue with a course of action of consequences that you have stated, just to show them that you meant what you said. Also,